Welcome to the kitchen here in Cherry Tree Cottage. Today I'm cooking up two of my favourite recipes for this time of year, Furmenty and baked apples. Now, baked apples were a favourite during Victorian times, but even at the end of the 19th century there was a warning for the craze of the new toffee apple. So I'm going to cook up a slightly less sweet version. Now, a baked apple is an apple that's baked in the oven, as the name suggests, but the core is filled with dried fruit and spices and sugar. They're delicious. So we're going to start with making the filling for the baked apples. First of all, you put your dried fruit into a bowl. I've got raisins here, but you can use other dried fruits as well. Take a handful and pop them in the bowl. The next thing is to add your sugar. I'm using soft brown sugar. It tastes a little bit like caramel and toffee. And you add 2 tablespoons of that. Now the next thing is to add your chosen spices. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of cinnamon and half a teaspoon of nutmeg each, but again, you can choose which ones you prefer. Then we're going to mix that all together. And then put it to a side and wait for the apples. Well, in the workhouse, they wouldn't have seen much fruit, neither sugar or spice. Their normal workhouse diet consisted of gruel, a watery porridge, and bread, cheese and butter. But Christmas was different. Each year, the guardians of the workhouse, those who oversaw the running of it, would vote whether the inmates of the workhouse would get a Christmas dinner or not. Now, the thing was, if the guardians voted yes, they would actually have to pay for that Christmas dinner themselves, and it could be a huge expense. So, do you think that they ever voted yes? Well, in fact, every year, bar one, they did. And our records from 1852 show that quite a feast was supplied. There was roast beef and plum pudding for everybody. There was ale and tobacco for the male inmates, and there was tea, sugar, butter and snuff for the female inmates. Children got nuts and oranges. I imagine that would have been a very welcome change from the normal workhouse diet. So now we're going to core the apples. Now this is a tricky job, but you have to do it to get rid of that hard centre and all the pips. So to core an apple, you can use a corer or you can use a knife. The first stage is to score around. Okay, so now we're going to fill our cored apples with the sweet, spicy dried fruit mixture. Let's put the apples in our baking dish. And then get the fruit mixture ready. Now you can do this with a spoon, but I prefer to do this with my hands. Now the last thing to do before they go into the oven is then to put a little bit of water in the baking dish. Now this will stop them from sticking and cook them lovely. If you have an oven where you can set the temperature, unlike my own, the temperature for cooking these is 200 degrees centigrade or 180 degrees centigrade if you've got a fan assisted oven. So let's pop these straight in. Right, so now they're in the oven, let's get on to our next recipe.